What do you think is going to evolve in the payment space? Because there's a lot of talk right now about peer-to-peer payments and wallets and less Visa, MasterCard, and people are hating Visa, MasterCard on both sides of the aisle right now.
I'll lay some foundation. So Visa, MasterCard started late 50s. They had two parties they needed to convince for this thing to work. The first was they had to convince consumers, hey, we're going to give you this thing. You can go get anything you want. You pay for it later. Fuck yeah.
That's pretty easy.
All consumers are like, I'm in, right? The other thing they had to do was convince businesses, hey, so these people are going to come in. They're not going to give you any money. They're just going to show you this piece of plastic. Give them the thing. And we'll pay you. We'll pay you in a few days.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, it's going to cost you 5%. A little bit of an uphill battle there. Now their pitch was, but they're going to buy more.
Right.
Because
and they will.
And they do, as it turns out. So over 60 years, they got damn near full adoption of people accepting credit cards, right? So 2000, 2010, right? Now the moat that they had that prevented people from going to another product is they built this ecosystem with hardware, credit card terminals, closed system. Only Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover could work in this system. In 2010, the iPad came out, roughly. As soon as the iPad came out, knockoffs came out, $100 tablets. When that happened, in that instant, the network got democratized because you no longer needed a credit card terminal to accept payments. You needed to write software. And as soon as the software happened, now we're in a whole new playground because the internet is the network in the frame. The software allows anybody to break in. Now all you have is brand recognition of Visa and MasterCard. And now that all you have is brand...
And a banking network
That's the internet, though.
Yeah.
That's the internet. It's the rails that it runs on, right? So all you have is the brand recognition of Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover. And the question is, now that we know anybody can write software, anybody has the internet to run the rails, what brands out there do consumers and businesses trust as much as they trust Visa and MasterCard to hold their money?
Apple, Amazon,
Facebook, Samsung, Google.
I saw Facebook's launching Facebook shops right now. Did you see that?
These are all, so like, this has been my hypothesis for probably 8 years that this is what we're doing. And it was as soon as the iPad happened, because I grew up selling credit card machines in stores, right?
Sure.
If Facebook hit you up and said, hey, Perry, we want you to put a buy with Facebook button on your page. And instead of, 2.5%, 3% processing fees, we're going to charge you 1%.
Which is more than the interchange fee.
Right.
Right.
But because it's not Visa and MasterCard anymore.
They don't have to interchange.
They don't have interchange, right? Your answer would be, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll try, right? You're going to worry about conversion online. But like, let's say you're, Walmart, H-E-B, Target, all day you would do that. Sure, I'll accept Facebook Pay if my machine magically does it, which it would, software.
And now you touch the machine and wandered or from your phone or
would consumers...
How long do you think there'll be credit cards, actually physical credit cards?
Well, so here's the thing. All of these brands are actively doing things to walk down that path already. So Apple, people didn't see this, but Apple Pay, Apple Wallet, this is Apple's very long game to tee up this situation to go Apple to Apple payments. And you mentioned, you mentioned the term peer-to-peer, right?
Because I got an Apple digital credit card now in my Apple Pay, so I don't tie it to an Amex anymore. It's just
Apple. Yeah. And that was the second step. Now, the other thing that the Apple credit card does that people didn't know, or people didn't see this happening under the radar, you can move money to another Apple credit card holder, and there's a 1% transaction fee. That's Apple's next step.
So it's Cash App, Venmo.
It's the next step to doing it. And they are just taking a very long approach because they wanted to first get U.S. adoption of people.
Probably regulatory too.
Using phones.
I'm sure the banking industry's shitting a brick over that.
Screaming
at politicians to block them and everything else, right?
Well, now you've got a couple barriers. You've got the actual credit, right? Do any of these companies actually want to hold credit? Meaning like, I'm extending a line of credit to Perry Belcher.
There's plenty of Wall Street companies willing to do that.
Well, and in Apple's case, that's Goldman Sachs is holding it. But the other is we're moving away from credit for all of the younger era, everybody. Like sub 30 right now, 30-year-olds are doing much more buy now, pay later because they realize that racking up debt with a high interest rate is stupid. So the buy now, pay laters are accelerating like crazy because kids in particular are like, no, I'll just do a 4-pay. I'm not going to throw the whole thing on my credit card and deal with interest for 4 months. I'll just pay you for 4 months. Now, here are the two barriers that are going to protect Visa and MasterCard for the next 5-10 years. And it'll erode. But the barriers are points and perks. That 1% that you want as a business owner doesn't come with points and perks for the consumer. And I don't know about you, but if I can throw shit on my Amex and collect my frequent flyer miles and whatever else, I'm going to do that any day over cash.
Sure.
Because why the fuck wouldn't I? So that's one. The other is disputes. And the dispute network is part of what interchange, which is the cost of the credit card ecosystem, what it covers. Until all those other companies want to get involved, and that's also the barrier to crypto taking over, is until you can figure out the dispute element and create the chargeback element.
There's so much dispute abuse now, though.
Oh, it's terrible.
I don't know how that's gonna.
That's a whole nother conversation. Obviously.
Anyway, so I didn't mean to hijack your interview, but I was curious myself because I'm paying attention to that right now.
I've thought about it a little bit.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.